Hi, my name is Shiona. One of the hardest things to do whenever we've been given a piece of literature like a poem or a short story is to actually provide a response to that reading. Oftentimes we may be asked to give a summary of our reading or a critical analysis of that, and the biggest challenge is always due to pieces of poetry, because poetry is not as clear as a short story because of the simple fact that writers use figurative language and other techniques to convey ideas rather than with words. So they try to maximize their meaning with minimal use of words. So today we're going to look a little bit at some of the figurative language in a poem, and I've provided a copy of that. The poem is called Mother to Son. One of the first things that we do when we look at a piece of poetry is we always look at the title. That title is always a very clear indicator of what our writer's trying to convey. Okay, so this title is self-explanatory. It's about a poem from a mother to a son. So whenever we read a piece of poetry, we should keep in mind the title and have a clear understanding of what that title is. Okay, and poetry is always meant to be read out loud. So I'll go ahead and read this out loud, and then we'll talk about some of the examples of figurative language that's seen in this particular poem. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time I see been a climbin' on, and reachin' landin's, and turnin' corners, and sometimes goin' in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you set down on the steps, 'cause you finds it kinder hard. Don't you fall now, for I see still goin', honey, I still stay climbin', and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Okay, as you listen to that poem, you can hear the vocabulary usage and some of the grammar that the author's trying to convey through the words, through the spelling, and we know that this is not standardized English. All right, so this whole example of the sounds, the words that they're using that are a little different, it's something called dialect. So what the writer has done is he's written that dialect through in the poem, and that's one of the reasons why we focus a lot on reading a poem out loud. It is something that should be heard. You can also hear a rhyme scheme if you read a poem out loud, because it'll have a rather musical quality. Okay. One other element that's seen in this poem is the usage of an extended metaphor. Most people understand that a metaphor is a comparison of two things which are generally unlike in one line of a poem, whereas an extended metaphor extends over a few lines or even throughout the poem. So if we look here, we see that this poem is an extended metaphor, and the metaphor starts in the second line, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Here the mother is comparing her life to a crystal stair. All right, and again, if you notice when we're reading it, she's again ending with the same line, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. So throughout the poem, she's comparing her life to a crystal stair. She's describing, she's using symbols. She's using the symbol, the crystal stair. We get a mental picture in our mind that crystals should evoke some kind of mental picture in our mind, and it should relate to our senses. We think of a crystal as being elegant, precious, expensive, easy to break. And the stair, we think of it as something that is progressive, almost like life. We progress through stages. When we go up the stairs of a stair, we progress, we go higher and higher. All right, so that's a very strong symbol. And then if we read further, we see that stair has got tacks in it. It's got splinters. It's got boards torn up. So probably the stair is not in a very good condition. So she's saying that her life is like a stair, and she's basically trying to tell the sun that yes, her life is not in great condition. There's no carpet on the floor. It's bare. Okay? So as she keeps progressing through what she's trying to say, she's telling us, okay, despite all this, despite the condition of my stair, my life, I'm still climbing. I'm going up those stairs. I'm reaching landings. I'm reaching the top. I'm reaching the top of the stair. I'm turning corners. Again, symbols. We can picture her as she's progressing through her life, going around corners. Sometimes she's going in the dark. She can't see where she's going. Dark is a very strong symbol. We think of something with no light, no hope. All right, where there ain't been no light. She can't see where she's going, but she's telling her son, don't turn back, don't give up. So it's a poem that inspires, that's meant to inspire the son. All right, don't sit down just because you feel it's a little hard. Don't fall now. And she's trying to use herself as an example, because I'm still going, I'm still climbing. Okay? So those are just a couple of the examples of figurative language that's used in this poem. And once we identify all of the elements, then we can look at, giving a very clear summary, the usage of figurative language and other styles that the writer uses. Is it effective for this poem? Is it clear? Is it appropriate? And giving my own personal response. And the main thing is, when I'm writing a summary or analysis, I should always be able to relate back to the passage. Why is it like this? And give a very clear description relating the figurative language elements along to what that writer has actually written, to help me understand what are they trying to convey. What is the message? Okay.